Hi, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Sri Bhutai here, for instance. Just got myself on camera. And yeah, for instance, what are we talking about now? We're talking about the last game of the season. The last game! Oh, ladies and gentlemen, it was amazing. We went back down to the last game and we're still in the shot with the title, for instance, and the fourth title will be an absolute amazing. And yeah, I'm buzzing like I've never been buzzing before, and yeah, I've been so proud of the guys. 9 from 9, 8 from 9 now, for instance, and yeah, and we've got a great chance of us going to winning the title, for instance, and again, fourth. Yeah, it'll be our fourth title. For instance, can we do it? West Ham. It's going to be difficult. It's not going to be tough. For instance, West Ham on the beach. Who knows? But just quick introductions. My name's Peter. I'm True Blue Thai from Thailand. I'm a Manchester City born Mancunian, for instance, and been going to Man City all my life. For instance, for instance, yeah, for instance, I like to talk about my Man City, what's it called, and to like-minded people, for instance, who like to talk about City, for instance, and we got an amazing, great set of fans. Even over here, for instance, there's great City fans here, and this fan base is growing enormously. And yeah, so and one day I need to go to Grunted Mahanagar and want to go into the capital city of Bangkok. And for instance, because there's a Manchester City bar over there, for instance, and where the guys really do me proud. What's it called when they're posting? They're really getting behind the boys. But now, what's it called? Yeah, before I start, I just want to sit there. I've heard, for instance, and has all highlights, etc. What's it called of the ladies? The Manchester City ladies. You, yeah, what's it called? You didn't win your title. It really could have been two titles for two, the boys and the girls. And unfortunately, for instance, you didn't win. And I am so disappointed. For instance, we went off to Aston Villa and we did our job, and all we needed is United not to screw it up. And when they did it stupendously, they're absolutely amazing. What's it called? 6-0. Could you be more of a bottle merchants than ever? United, what's it called? The most joke club in the Premier League, and for instance, with most joke fans, I'm still getting it from a United fan. For instance, I know, for instance, who talks about being a small club and blah blah blah. It's got nothing else to say. For instance, it can't kind of come back. I could really dig into the guy, for instance, but I really don't care. What's it called? And for instance, we kind of bump that a little bit. We'll just, have a dig every so often, etc. But other than that. But watching the girls, which I thought I'd had a bit more about them, capitulate, what's it called, to Chelsea. Not losing 1-0, 2-0, but 6-0 at home on your final game. Did you bother turning up? Did you show any kind of spite? Well, was it, what's it called, I don't want to hand Man City the title. So, yeah. So the bitterness of the Man United women, just like the bitterness of United's Man United full stop. So there you go. So in that sense, thank God it didn't rain. So yeah. Anyway, so for instance, here I am. For instance, but it's the last game of the season. But anyway, big up to the ladies, for instance, for an amazing season. I'm sure you'll be back. Steph Owen's last game, which is such a shame. I'm sorry for you, Steph, and the girls. They've done amazing. Bunny getting injured, but she got Player of the Year. We got the Golden Glove. For instance, and yeah, amazing. Also, got a big up, for instance. I gotta say big up, for instance. I never used to say things like this, etc. I'm just picking up from what the City fans say, so I'm kind of like trying to be hip. So yeah, big up, big up. Congratulations as well on my talk, my conversational style. For instance, congratulations to Phil Foden. For instance, not only winning Sport Writers Player of the Year, which is quite prestigious, which is kind of one of the only awards I like. But we were actually one of the Player of the Season. Me personally, it was Rodri. Okay, and he wins absolutely nothing. And even though he's the best, it wasn't even in the top 8, which is absolutely mind blowing. But to me, Rodri, what's it called? But Phil Foden has really stepped up the season, and in the wake of Kevin De Bruyne, he's in midfield, which is his favourite position, and he's just loving life, and he's just scoring goals, and his pass, his pass to Doku, for instance, for the Man City goal, for the second goal, etc., which is amazing, and he's scored some amazing goals this season. So well done, Phil. So well done, Phil. Well done, Khadija. Well done. Sorry, the lady, our goalkeeper for the ladies, for instance. For instance, yeah. Sorry, I forgot your name. It's like the chicken just. Yeah. So for instance, and yeah. So well done, guys. For what's it called, for your efforts this season. What's it called? It's been an absolutely amazing. So we can still have our head hang high, even though, for instance, even if the men don't win today. Well, but let's get on to the game. Well, for me personally, do I feel that we win? Yes, I feel we'll win. I think that we'll win because, quite honestly, for instance, we're the better team. I think we'll win because, for instance, we know how to win. Will there be any nerves? 110%. Are we going to make it an Aston Villa? Sergio Aguero moment? No, I don't think so. I think it'll be comfortable. I think there was going to get an early goal, for instance. I think that'll be that. West Ham don't play for anything. I haven't got played for anything apart from David Moyes last season. They've got some very, very good teams. Our latest signing, Phuket, what's it called? Who should be a City fan once these stupid charges get sorted out by the Premier League, who's dragging its beat. So yeah, I do believe, for instance, we will, for instance, go and win the game. Yeah, so I'm very, very confident we'll win the game. So, for instance, because I think we're just Manchester City, and this is what we do, and yeah, and we'll win the fourth title. Big up to all Man City fans going today. I hope you have a great time. For instance, big up again, yeah, for instance, and things loud and proud as you've done all season. Absolutely fantastic. And but for instance, I've got every confidence the guys have actually will go off and win the game. You know, and I'm going to be sat at home, etc. For instance, or the lady's going to be in bed as per usual. For instance, while I'm going to have to be sat there going. She knows about it. She's said she was a City fan, but she's not a City fan, and she's made it quite clear, which is kind of annoying me a lot. But it's what can you do, for instance. And anyway, so. But I got to, but I will be sat there crossing my T's and toes, and I can always celebrate later. For instance, what's it called after we win, you know, and next week we'll have to go off to Wembley, and hopefully we'll do the Swamp Dwellers, what's it called, over in Wembley, and yeah, with Ten Hag and his the boys round here, we'll give it back to the guys round here. Honestly, he sounds like an old guy. You know, the guy's behind me. Yeah, right, okay. You know, honestly, for instance, I wonder how many injuries they'll have next week. That'd be interesting to see. Yeah, so for instance, and yeah, so I've got every confidence the guys are going to do it tomorrow. Why do I feel this way? For instance, because it's what, of course, what we do. Anyway, so starting lineups, I expect Man City to be exactly the same. For instance, why not? It's worked for us. It's playing well for us. Players who are not playing, for instance, thank you very much. For instance, I know it's been very difficult for not playing last season and last game. Who probably want to play: Nunes, Rico, Bob, Jeremy. For instance, Jack. For instance, what's it called? But you've been, you know, your contributions. This is a team effort, and your contributions makes a difference, and has made a difference this season. And what's it called? I hope to see more of you guys next season, playing a more bigger role. What's it called in the game, for instance, in the team. Because we need a big squad, extended Champions League, extended Europe Super Cup, extended Club World Cup, not Super Cup, Club World Cup, and it's just ridiculous. For instance, we, you know, like what we've got to, you know, for instance, the amount of football the guys have got to play, got Euros, yeah, so just stupid, you know, honestly, what their expectations on the football, and it's not. And I'm not going to have these people, well, nurses work harder. Well, believe me, I work in the NHS, and nurses do not work harder, is what you say. So I'm not going to have that. For instance, and also, for instance, you can't compare an athlete to a nurse. I'm sorry, you can't. You know, and what the effort, you know, whatever, like the amount of hours. You know, like, for instance, an athlete's body is a well-tuned body, for instance, like that, and you could get so many injuries just like that, where you probably won't get them as much, for instance, if you're not in what's it called, running, and for instance, doing what you're doing as, like, for instance, in your own job. So yes, yeah, what's it called? So as long as you're taking care of yourself. But no, for instance, no, I expect the team to be exactly the same team as it was against Fulham and Wolves and, for instance, Spurs. Yeah, and for instance, but just highlight. I've just been, the fun. I've been sat there amused, but I'm also perplexed. Not perplexed. Kind of like you sat there, you open mouthed, and catching flies, because all I have seen is the animosity and the hatred and the fighting between the London clubs, not West Ham, but the likes of West Ham. Of Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs, having a go at each other, and absolutely pulling each other apart. For instance, I know there's a rivalry, but it's just this, and and it's like what City have done is really, really, really set this lot against each other more than ever. For instance, and it's just so funny to watch. And for instance, and I'm just sat there. I watched this thing called DR, for instance, for a few minutes. This girl came on singing Blue Moon and everything. And then, for instance, and it was United, and it was all London clubs, and the United player, a United fan, and yeah, yeah. Why is it always a United fan? It's London, isn't it? Yeah. And yeah, and they were just literally just going at each other and hammer and tongue, and for instance, you haven't won, and you haven't won, and you haven't, and we haven't, and last time and honestly, for instance, and it's what Manchester City have done for these lot. We just basically, for instance, made this lot, for instance, so angry, for instance, and so and confrontated towards each other. And they should stop and look at themselves, their own teams. You can blame Manchester City, you can blame each other, for instance, but you got to look at your own team. And it's your own team for which you need to get sorted out. Me personally, when things go wrong in my life, okay, which they do, for instance, and it's like here, for instance, in Thailand, what's it called? I want to talk Thai. I can speak other languages, and I haven't spoken. I don't speak Thai. I know a lot of words. I know a lot of things things to say. I know the days of the week, month, numbers, blah blah blah, everything like that. But I don't have conversational time. What's it called? In the way that, but I'm also dealing with people, for instance, who are professional. What's it called? The type of people who are around me. So of course, and I listen to the music, to the news, okay, and it really frustrates me, and I really, really want to talk, and and I've really, really got to get it sorted, and I know there's a lot of expats who don't bother. For instance, I don't know the tones, but I think I met a guy, for instance, a Man City fan, a really great guy, for instance, and the first thing he said to me was, well, one of the first things, because he's a City fan, the first thing he said to me, he said, "How's your tie?" And I think if I ever go back to the UK, which I hope not, but ever go back, for instance, honestly, Man City, if I ever go back, I don't want people to say to me, well, did you learn Thai? So yeah, so the three things I wanted to really sort out, making sure that I have the money, to stay over here, make sure my health is perfect, which it is now. For instance, I've lost a lot of weight since I'm talk Thai. So, for instance, I really have, especially communication with my lady, for instance, not the best. Of course, granted, her English is not great. And, for instance, the only person who speaks English to is me. And, yeah, so she struggles and I struggle, so, for instance, and so I really need to do it. But that's me addressing a problem which is my fault. It's not somebody else's fault. It's not the Thai people's fault. It's not somebody else's fault. It's my fault. Okay, and I need to be better. So, for instance, and so yeah, I just need to be better talking the language, and yeah. So, for instance, so when it comes down to relates to football, I can't blame myself, only myself. Anybody else other than myself. So when it comes down to other people, when other clubs and they're talking about Man City and we can't compete with Man City and the money, and we can't compete with Man City and they're just a juggernaut. We can't compete because they've got Pep Guardiola. We can't compete. It's a defeatist attitude, and it just reminds me of the Brits who refuse because they don't understand the tones of the language of Thai language. Oh, it's too difficult, and they'll blame someone else. So, for instance, they'll blame it. Yeah. So, for instance, and I'm just going to point here a little bit, but it's the fact that, for instance, they've only got I know I can speak the language if I just try harder. Okay, but for instance, and it's like the time, for instance, it's like for instance, the Thai people, for instance, the other football clubs, they can, Arsenal did a very, very good job this season. What's it called? They've done most of, what's it called? They've got a fantastic. What they've done, for instance, has been amazing. For instance, but what they have not done is win the what's it called the all the games, and they've dropped points, and they dropped 2 points against City, for instance, where they should have been a bit more. For instance, they could have beat Man City at the Etihad, for instance, but they were quite happy to be play defensive and get a pay with a point, and those 2 points which they dropped could be the difference between the winning the Premier League and losing the Premier League. So, for instance, and it wasn't at the time, and with the massive goal difference. Now the goal difference is down to 1, for instance, and Man City are 2 points clear. So it's all right saying about saying what they're saying, but you've got to, for instance, they've got to look at themselves and say they blame themselves. So could they have won the Premier League title? They can still win it, because if City draw or lose against West Ham, for instance, they could still win. Okay, will they? I don't think so. Once ago, because I think Man City just know how to win at this time of the year. This is what we do, for instance, and the Man City fans will get, and West Ham will put up a good fight, but I think Man City will win the game. But for instance, so and this argument I've heard from other fans saying none of the clubs and the the red media, the Stolen-based red media, for instance, it's against Man City, Man City, whatever, saying they're a juggernaut, they're invincible, they're blah, 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 whatever, they got Pep, whatever, and they can't compete with Manchester City's money and the charges and all this kind of nonsense. It's sour grapes. It is a defeatist attitude, and it's like the tones in Thai language. Oh, well, I can't do it because I can't learn the tones. Okay, it is a defeat. And for instance, and as far as I'm concerned, that is what, for instance, I say, for instance, what's it called? I get from the other fans. There's this defeat is to say that we cannot beat Man City, or Man City is running away with and that's another lie, because the last few Premier Leagues have been so close. Have been so close. I think the 100-point season, but apart from that, other than that, for instance, the last Premier League title races have gone down to the wire. Man City were third. What's it got a few months ago? Like in Arsenal, and it was more like whether he was going to be Klopp, because he Klopp last season. Was he going to be, for instance, Arsenal going to win it because of, for instance, the way they were playing? And Man City were third on the supercomputer, whatever. For instance, and we had to, go off and not lose the game. And now, for instance, on one weekend, it changed completely when Arsenal and Liverpool both lost. Boom. And look at it now, for instance, but it just shows you. But that's got nothing to do with Manchester City. We've just been doing what we need to do, is to win games. They've lost, for instance, and we've been scoring goals and not conceding, not many bozo moments. And for instance, so we've actually, we've got up there. For instance, for instance, what's the word? For instance, we have showed our mettle. For instance, we've taken the game to the Arsenal and Liverpool, and said, listen, what's it called? We're out of this. Come on, guys, this is what we do. The guys love the pressure. They like the thriving of the pressure. And so what's it called? Do you ever realise how much stress? I used to have so much lovely hair, I went to Man City, and my face. It's going to Man City, it's the sun, and me losing so much weight. But it's one of those things. I can't complain. For instance, and they only got their own selves to complain about. For instance, and the red media, for instance, need to give Manchester City the respect which it does not give. And that was the first question in the press conference. Do you get the respect from other clubs? And I know Pep's come out and said this previously. We don't get the respect from from all the clubs in the media. For instance, we don't. Sorry, maybe the clubs, but the media definitely not. And for instance, so we know we don't get the respect which we deserve. And with, for instance, but he was very cordial as Pep is, and Mason joking and Mason relaxed, and he's basically, for instance, saying, I think so, and but he knows himself he doesn't, because we don't. The players don't get the team don't get for instance, the respect. For instance, there's from the red media, for instance, and if and it's boring city, and it's the Farmers League, and it's the French League and the Bundesliga, even though this title rights has got all the way to gone down to the last game of the season, it did. So yeah, when did Bayer Leverkusen beat won their game with the Champions League? When did PSG win theirs? For instance, it's nonsense. It's nonsense to sit there and say, like my goldfish, whatever, saying, "Oh well, it's a farmers league." It's You're saying what you're saying rather than actually addressing the problem. You're complaining about, for instance, again, got to look at yourself. People need to be accountable for themselves, accountable for their own clubs. I need to turn around to the clubs, like when I listen to Lee Gunner, for instance, even though I disagree with the guy sometimes, he's calling out Arsenal and Arsenal, whatever, to a great degree. Someone said things sometimes I agree with, or sometimes I don't. But for instance, I know we're football supporters, but for instance, at least he's saying what he's feeling, and yeah, yeah. So how do I feel is right or wrong? But for instance, he's actually coming out and addressing the problem why his club is not winning the league, and for instance, in cups and things like that, to which they need to be doing something, they need to be whatever, rather than actually blaming Manchester City. Okay, he's saying, well, we should have been better. We should have been better. And we need to help and be more accountable. And for instance, people in life need to be more accountable for their own lives and not blame everybody else. And so for instance, and if your life's crap, a lot of times, etc., it's your fault. For instance, and you can blame everybody. And for instance, if your team's crap, and for instance, it's maybe not your fault, etc. But you can't blame Manchester City. You've got to say turn around and say, well, we just weren't good enough, or whatever, or we didn't do enough. But you can't blame Man City and VAR decisions and offside decisions like Liverpool and Klopp still moaning about bloody Rodri. It was a handball, late, blah blah blah. That does not win the title. Title's a long season. It goes through 4 seasons. It goes from summer, winter, spring, autumn. Okay, and for instance, it's a lot of games, a lot of minutes, a lot of decisions, a lot of offsides, a lot of VARs, a lot of goals, whatever. Okay, and injuries, etc. And we can all do that, but at the end of the day, for instance, it's if you have not won, if you're not standing on top of the table, if you're not holding that Premier League the trophy, it's because that, for instance, is something that you've done wrong. Okay, and you can't blame anybody else, any other team, Man City, whatever, apart from that. But for instance, but it's Manchester City, and people just don't want to do it because it's Manchester City. Don't want to blame because it's Manchester City. 115 charges, blah, 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 blah. And when these charges go away, for instance, and everything goes whatever, and the Premier League realise that they made a massive blunder trying to charge Man City, what's the next thing? Oh, they got Pep Guardiola. Oh, well, we can't win anything until Pep Guardiola goes. Bloody nonsense. Absolute nonsense. In a 3-horse title race, for instance, and that's got nothing to do with Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola, for instance, we have the players. The players are veterans because they've been Manchester City for a long time. A lot of the players, the Kevin De Bruyne, the Phil Fodens, and for instance, Kyle Walkers and Bernardo Silvas, and they just know how to win, and they know just how to. Rodri and Diaz, and know how to just basically, for instance, and Edison, for instance, know how to win, and for instance, know what to do because they're experienced and knowledgeable enough, and they want to win. Okay, and that's and that is mentality for you, and that's got nothing to do with 115. That's got nothing to do with whatever. It's all about mentality. For instance, they're willing to get to push the X forward. We have what Man United lack everywhere on the pitch and off the pitch. Okay, an absolute shambles of a football club, shambles of a football team. Probably effort in certain players, a lot of effort in no players. Zero winning mentality. For instance, a complete lack of we're United. Where's my paycheck? Okay, of disgrace of a football club and football players. Rashford, exactly. For instance, yeah, and it's just yeah. So, for instance, and what Manchester City guys are winners. They want to be winners. They do what they do to be winners. And they train to be winners. They make themselves better to be winners. Okay. They say they never shake. They work together as a team. They stay together. They get on well together. For instance, so it's the Manchester City team, and it's a team of players guided by their amazing background of trainers, physios, the people in the background who never, very rarely, you only see on what's it called when the Champions League trophy, Premier League trophy gets gets brought out, and they're all coming out and slap eyeing each other, for instance, and everything. The guys, everything about Manchester City is the entire squad, the club, okay, was built for winning, and that's why we win. So, for instance, and yeah, so and that's why we're going to win today. For instance, on Sunday. For instance, yeah, one at it. As they say in Thai, see, I can talk a little bit of Thai. So the gap comes by the mind, well, yeah. So, but if you're watching it, I don't know where you're watching it from. I hope you have a really, really good game. Watch a good game. I hope that, for instance, we get the result what we require. For instance, I hope it's not too difficult for us. For instance, I'm trying to stay after that cow, for instance, and whatever, because I don't want to. Because I'm trying to respect my lady, for instance, who has to work. For instance, and I'm yeah, I could go out, for instance, but like again, for instance, you're going to get some bitters out there, for instance, and also, for instance, I want to meet like-minded people, for instance, who can sit there. I don't want to sit in a bar, for instance, full of hangers on and bitter fans, etc. And people are just going to stop you from watching the game. Because in the day, I'm watching a football game and I'm watching it and I'm enjoying it. So, for instance, sometimes it's nice to watch it by yourself. For instance, or maybe they would like-minded fans. But for instance, when you're in the middle of Pattaya, for instance, and you get all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds, etc. For instance, it could be and these annoying young girls and hi, you have a girlfriend? No, go away, you lady, stupid lady. And yeah, so for instance, and yeah, so I'm really looking forward to the game. I've got my champions flag already. It's I have it needs it needs ironing, for instance, and I'll put it up. For instance, but I'm not. It's not. For instance, it's not going to put it up just yet. We'll see what happens. For instance, I've got one covering the door, for instance, but it's an old one, for instance, with the previous uh, years we've won it. So, but really looking forward to the game. I'm really jealous of the guys. It's going to be hot in England. 22 degrees. Woo! Oh yeah, 22 degrees. We've got 27 already. Yeah, for instance, I was hoping to do this outside, but there's a lot of activity out there. For instance, and anyway, so. But guys, I'm gonna love you and leave you. I hope you are well. I hope you're doing okay. I hope you're looking forward to the game. I hope you, for instance, you've got your nails and your toes, ready, and maybe you're having a party, for instance. I hope it goes well, for instance. But thank you for supporting Manchester City, for instance, being like-minded and smart, and yeah, and I will see you, after in the after party, for instance. Hopefully, fingers crossed. West Ham with Bowie and Paqueta and Antonio, and got a damn good football team. But hopefully, for instance, the Blues can make it three in a let's go four in a row, and yeah, and we can smile, and then for instance, and we can just go off to Wembley, for instance, and with the old mob with the bucket hats and. I went in, but when I we know why you got bucket hats, United, to protect you from the rain, from your stadium, like. Yeah, and see if we can just we'll do them, and then we can go off. They can go off, and the players can go off on the holidays or to off to America, etc. And the priest, like for the tours, and they can have a well-earned rest, etc. For instance, and it's back to the start of a new season, which is a talk for a new day. But anyway, guys, love you and leave you. Go on, City. You can do it. We can do it. We can do it. We're champions of England. We know who we are. Let's go. Come on. Come on, City. Come on. Come on. Come on, Blues. Take care. I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow. So, okay. Take care, guys.